Hello, everybody. It is Tao with The Forge, and I'm back with the daily review. So let's see what's going on. It's a bit of a late night today, but I had to get some things done. So yeah, here we go. All right, so we've got 29 hours left to play standard FNM at home. So I mean, this is a really tough one because I think there's going to be a lot of broken stuff in standard, but it doesn't mean you actually have to play you're not playing in the standard competitive queue. So you might be able to play something good there. Nonetheless, you should still play because even if you don't get any wins at all, you can take a screenshot of this and send it to your local game store, and then basically you'll get like free card sleeves or free card styles or something like that. So definitely play FNM at home standard. All right, so and you can get 2 rares out of it, and it's free to enter. So hey, why not? Okay, other than that, looks like it's just mostly just the other normal stuff that they have in there, your traditional drafts. Feel free to play whatever you want there. I haven't heard really of anybody playing Brawl, but I think the only people playing Brawl are just the people that they're on here because they want to play Commander, but there's no Commander, so it is what it is. All right, so anyways, let's go to the store, see what is going on today. A card, sleeves, already 50% off sleeves. Let's check out the deals. Okay, as you guys know, I never get card styles, which is funny because here it says I purchased them all, but I actually just won all of these. So yeah, in the last Theros Mastery Pass. So I actually just earned all of these, but yeah, I don't really care about them at all. I would never waste any in-game currency on them. Now, for the Purphoros sleeves, they are pretty nice, but I mean, again, it's still 2,000 gold, man. 2,000 gold's a lot. So I have to think about this one. I'm not totally keen on it, but it's okay, and it's 2,000. So I mean, it is what it is. If you like it, then go for it. Now, going back, yesterday I asked you guys, do you guys get the same rewards? So, I mean, I got a 750 reward today. Did you guys also get a 750 reward? Now, I suspect that it's random, that everyone just gets random stuff every day, but I wonder, is it actually just that they start with this package today? Is it 750 reward and then the next one's 500 and the next one's 750 or whatever? So let me know in the comments, did you get the same reward? All right, so lastly, I do want to talk about one thing that's been kind of on my mind, and that's a lot of people just trash talking Mill. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that Mill is my favorite deck archetype. I just love playing Mill. I think it's the most fun to play. And I get why a lot of people don't really like it, but I do want to say some things in defense of Mill. All right. Now, first of all, I feel that Mill is actually a really fair type of play. Okay, and a lot of people say it's just not fun, right? And I can see why people would say it's not fun, right? But I think a lot of it comes from a misunderstanding of the game, right? So the first thing is that Mill doesn't actually disrupt your hand. People say, oh, it's getting rid of all my cards. Well, you never actually had those cards in your hand to begin with. And that's one of the challenges of playing with Mill, is that you have to assemble the right type of package and really, gather or you have to kind of ration your resources to really only counter and what really matters, right? Because you only have limited resources to deal with your opponent's threats, right? And so if you got a really aggressive opponent, it's really hard to deal with them, right? Especially if they've got threat after threat after threat coming at you, it's super hard to deal with them. Plus also in best of 3, it's really hard because very often people will put an Eldrazi Titan or something like that into their sideboard, and then once they have that, it's virtually impossible to get to mill them out, right? It's super hard, and you have to have a surgical extraction or something like that. All right, so that's actually it's kind of a glass cannon in a lot of ways, but it can actually survive, and there's actually a lot of matches where Mill has been competitive for me even when you might not think it is. Okay, so the other thing is that Mill doesn't really destroy your card advantage, and it doesn't really affect my own card advantage. So if I'm playing mill, it's not like I'm necessarily getting card advantage. Now, one of the best things about the current deck I'm playing is that I'm playing the crab mill, and there's a Curious Obsession card in there, which does give me card advantage. And so that's actually why it's such a huge boon. And I know a lot of people question that, but the times when it does give you help is super golden, right? Like, so when you can just get card after card after card, it's worth it to take the chance and put that in there. So, I mean, overall, like, mill doesn't really destroy your opponent's card advantage, and so like you can still play your game. It's just that if you're playing the long game, then it's going to be hard, right? But I mean, is that really any different than any of the other super annoying decks, right? I'd say mill is actually less annoying because you get to still play your game, right? Like, I'm just putting cards in your graveyard from your library, but I'm not disrupting your hand at all, right? And so I actually made a list of some of the decks that I find like super annoying, like way more annoying than mill. Right, first one, Simic Ramp. Right, so when you're playing ramp decks and your opponent's got like 4 or 5 mana available on turn 2, or they got like 6 mana on turn 3, that's ridiculous. Right, and so I mean, and then they start flashing stuff in, and they're countering everything. They got charge draw. They got so much mana that they can draw cards all over the place. That is just brutally unfair, right? And then they start like free casting stuff, and yeah, it's just ridiculous, right? Mono black discard. Okay, now mono black discard I think doesn't get nearly as much hate as mill, but mono black discard is actually worse. Okay, because it actually disrupts your hand. You just can't play anything, and then it punishes you for not being able to play anything, right? And so what mono black discard does is I think it does what a lot of people think mill does, right? And yet people seem to think that mono black discard is fine. Like when people play like 8 rack and everything, no one really complains about that, right? But you play mill and people start shitting on you right away, right? And so I think overall, like mono black discard, when you're like forcing your opponent to discard their whole hand, like they just really can't play at all and just sit there, draw a card, and then you have to discard that card. You draw a card, and oh look, you played the card, you get punished for it, right? Because now you're empty-handed. It's just ridiculous. Okay, that stupid cycling deck, right? Cycling, has 0 interactivity. Okay, and when you destroy their threats, it still is a threat because it's in the graveyard, and then they can go and search for whatever that spell is that they can get. They can just cycle until they get the spell. As soon as they get their creatures out, they're cycling cards and doing exactly what they want to do, and they're doing 2 damage to you, or they're making a token or whatever, right? That cycling deck is totally non-interactive, super annoying, and yeah, like that is an abomination, right? Way worse than mill. Okay, Lotus Cobra Scoot Swarm. Okay, the stupid, like, ridiculous combo where you get all these, like, things coming in. You have people with, like, 200 tokens on turn 8. It's like, again, super ridiculous. Like, that, how many people play that and think, oh, yeah, that's a fair game. I feel good about playing against that, right? When someone's actually just milling cards from your library, like, you still get to play. It's just a race. Like, can you kill me before I get rid of your library? Right, but like when someone has like 200 tokens against you, like, come on. Okay, here's one of my favorite, most annoying ones: facing 2 Fervent Champions and a Robber of the Rich, and maybe even like a Cavalcade of Calamity, Torbrand, or whatever on like turn 4. Right, and your opponent's like stealing stuff from your library. They can cast all your cards. They got card advantage. All their stuff does plus 4 damage. You like put their Phoenix in the graveyard and it just comes back. Like, who really likes Red Rush? I don't know why everyone at Wizards like just promotes Red Rush like crazy. Why not do something like like give another color some love, right? But Red Rush is like, I think it's just because it's the cheapest way to get into Magic, and that's why like people like they just keep making it. But man, it's so annoying when you have like like 2 Fervent Champions on like turn 2. And the thing is with Wizards or with Arena, I'm sure that the shuffler is rigged. Right, I'm sure that the way it chooses hands is rigged in some way. Because have you ever played Red Rush when they don't have 2 Fervent Champions? Right, or they don't have a Fervent Champion or Robber of the Rich, right? Like, have you ever seen Red Rush get like mana screwed, or something like that? Like, I don't think so. I know their curve is really low, but like, really, like, how often does that ever happen when they don't have exactly the right cards that they need? All right. Okay, another one, Culture Familiar Cat Oven combo, especially if you play it with red black, right? And they're playing it or red black green, and they're playing it with whatever that devil is, that like mayhem devil that like pings you and stuff like that, and they just keep on like blocking with the cat. Again, you can't really interact with that. It's super hard to interact with it, and they just keep sacrificing and bringing it back, pinging you for one, block your creature, attack you, like kill it, bring it back. Like, it's just so annoying. Okay, that deck is so much more annoying. Okay, now over to Historic, you got the Muxus Goblins, right? Like, okay, so again, playing with that goblin, that Skirk Prospector that can sacrifice a goblin to generate mana, and then getting Muxus out and then generate more goblins. Okay, like seriously, like it's super annoying again to play against those stupid goblins, right? And that deck is super powerful. They can play goblins off the top of their deck. Again, way more annoying because like at least you like the goblin player can at least play their hand, right? Like and then they have like 40 power with their goblins on turn 4 or 5 or something like that, and then they just like wreck you. Okay, so again, I think that's way more annoying. The Auspicious Strix Mutate deck. Okay, again, getting like free casting creatures out of your library with Auspicious Strix, like ramping your mana up super fast. Okay, you can't tell me that feels really good. Like, yeah, that person playing really fairly, right? Okay, the Veto Exquisite Blood combo, right? Where you have like Veto whenever that person gains life, you lose life, and then Exquisite Blood that says like, whenever you lose life, they gain life. It just creates that infinite combo cycle. Yeah, that's really fun to play with too. So I mean, all they do is just gain life, ignore your attacks or anything, and then as soon as they get the combo off, then there's no way to stop it. So I mean, okay, again, super like. Again, like, do people really play that and be like, oh, that was a good game of Magic. I felt really good about that. Like, no, they don't. No one likes that. Okay. And finally, Dimir Flash. Oh, there's one more I want to mention because it's coming. It's not in Arena yet, but it's coming. Okay. Dimir Flash. Dimir Flash is super annoying as well. Now, I love Dimir Flash because I'm a Dimir player. That's my favorite colors. Okay. But I admit, I know it's annoying. Right, because you're playing everything on your opponent's turn. Like you just hold up counters, and then on their end step, if they can't cast anything, if they don't cast any threats against you, you cast a threat against them. And then as soon as you have a threat on the board, then you just keep pinging them with that threat, maybe even drawing cards off of it. And you just hold up that one little threat and just duck and cover, and just cover and keep covering that threat until your opponent just can't do anything. Right, and then just keep taxing them or getting more threats onto the board. It's like again, interrupting and making it really hard for your opponent to play at all. Right, and you're playing basically like, I think Wizards doesn't really understand how powerful of an ability Flash is, right? It just seems like nowadays almost everything has Flash, right? Or many things have Flash. Okay, and one final one that's going to be coming because because they just did Amonkhet Remastered, they're going to be doing Kaladesh Remastered, and that means that Energy is coming. Right? And the one worst thing about Energy is that Energy is totally non-interactive. You can't get rid of someone's energy, right? You can't disrupt energy. It's the same thing with cycling. Okay, if your opponent's using energy, there's nothing you can do against it, right? Like maybe you can try and unsummon a creature or whatever, but that's coming. Okay, that's coming because Kaladesh is coming, and what's actually kind of bugging me is that like Wizards, in the Jumpstart packs, they said that things like Path to Exile and Lightning Bolt were too strong. Okay, maybe for Red Rush, Lightning Bolt is too strong, but really Path to Exile, White could use a little love. Okay, for real. Like that just removes one thing. Okay, and the person gets a land for it. Okay, whereas but for some reason they think Thoughtseize is just totally fine. Right, so they put Thoughtseize in. Yeah, I love getting Thoughtseize like 2 or 3 times in a row right off the start, and they just dissect my whole hand. Right? I mean, like that is just, again, like why? Why are they allowing Thoughtseize like for black but not for the other colors? Like why don't they allow those like things like that for other colors? It's so weird. But you just wait. When Energy comes out in Kaladesh, it's going to be just no fun for anybody. All right. And just wait because when Kaladesh comes out, because Ensnaring Bridge was offered as a masterpiece. If they offer Ensnaring Bridge, you're going to see that in my Mill deck, and then then you're going to see Mill really take off. So if you don't like Mill, then you're going to see like Ensnaring Bridge Mill come out, and then then like you're really not going to have any fun. But anyways, that's my little rant for the day. I just feel like, people like unnecessarily are overly harsh with Mill, but I think like overall Mill lets you play your game. You can play the game you want. It's just a race. You just got to play fast, right? And if you can't play fast, well, okay. But I mean, it's not it doesn't use any like weird combos generally. It's not like putting out like a million creatures. We're not free casting. I mean, I feel like it's actually one of the most fair archetypes that you can have. Anyways, if you disagree, put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. I mean, I think you're wrong, but hey, I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.